morning, I-24 News Morning Edition on this January 27th. Ami Kaufman, I-24 News contributor, is here to help me not just with the date, but with anything that has to do with American elections, which is the story of the year. So with just 4 days to go until the primaries in Iowa and New Hampshire, the race on both sides of the political map is reaching its first boiling point. All eyes are now in Iowa, where polls predict a head-to-head battle between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz on the Republican front, as well as between Democrats Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. 24 hours before the final Republican debate, Donald Trump has pulled out from the Fox News production on the heels of his misogynic feud with moderator Megyn Kelly. Gaps between the candidates are still growing, though, on a daily basis. New polls are adding fuel to the fire, and the establishments of both parties seem less relevant than ever before. Now, whatever the outcome may be, this coming Monday will be one of the hottest political showdowns in recent memory, if not the history of American elections. And the following report has the latest from the Iowa races.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
A bombshell from Donald Trump just days before the Iowa caucuses.
Let's see how much money Fox is going to make on the debate without me, okay?
Trump's campaign now confirming he is bailing out of Thursday's Republican debate in Iowa with the return of moderator Megyn Kelly, who sparred with Trump back in August.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks.
Trump's rival, Senator Ted Cruz, saying the frontrunner dropping out of the debate shows a lack of respect for voters, and he issued this challenge.
If he's unwilling to stand on the debate stage with the other candidates, then I would like to invite Donald right now to engage in a one-on-one debate with me anytime between now and the Iowa caucuses.
Still, the Republican frontrunner continues to pull in conservative endorsements, including Arizona's famous tough-talking Sheriff Joe Arpaio, even as his opponents attack.
You don't think he's a Christian?
No, I don't know what he is. Trump views all this not from a question of position of, from his faith. He views it all as politics.
On the Democratic side, both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton's campaigns are energized and also concerned about voter turnout next Monday.
We will win here in Iowa if the voter turnout is high.
If you go to the caucus on Monday night and stand up for me there, I will work my heart out for you as your president.
Wow, the heat is on. Ami, we are joined via Skype right now from Iowa by freelance journalist Ben Gran. I want to thank you for being with us this very late hour for your morning for us. I'm sorry I'm not there with you because this is going to be the best show in town, if not in the world. Okay, looking up, poised to take, let's just speak about Donald Trump for a second, because I'm sure you're following this. When it comes to Iowa, when it comes to that Republican race there, what do Americans feel? What do you think as a journalist living there? Is he going to take that Republican nomination?
I think it's very far from certain what the Republican caucus result is going to be. And I personally am skeptical of Donald Trump's chances in Iowa. I feel that his support might be inflated a bit in the polls. I know that a lot of analysis has questioned the strength of Donald Trump's ground game, the number of field organizers he has in Iowa, and the strength of his get out the vote operation to actually work with people on the ground. So I feel like it's no sure thing to say that Donald Trump is going to win Iowa on Monday night. And I also feel like there are a couple of unique dynamics to the Iowa caucus that make his success far from inevitable.
Such as
one
what?
Is the Iowa caucus. Such as what? One is the Iowa caucus is kind of a unique process. It's not the same as a typical secret ballot election where you just go to the polling station and cast a vote and you're done. The Iowa caucus, you actually have to show up at a specific time on a Monday night and be counted visibly in public with all of your friends and neighbors from the neighborhood. So it's a slightly higher degree of difficulty and a slightly higher level of commitment.
Right.
So when a first-time caucus goer says to a phone pollster, I'm going to show up to vote for Donald Trump, that doesn't always happen in reality, right? They might say they're going to vote for him, but the support might not be there for Trump on Monday night.
But that said, even with those parameters that you're just describing, that lead in the polls for Donald Trump is quite impressive for a mere mortal sitting overseas. One cannot discount that.
Well, I think there's another unique dynamic to the Iowa caucus campaign, and that is the idea of quote, buyer's remorse. A lot of the time, there will be an insurgent candidate that's showing strong polling in Iowa, and then in the last few days before the caucuses, people kind of change their mind a little bit. I think there are still a lot of Iowa caucus goers who are still maybe a little bit fluid about their final decision, and we might see that play out right up until the very end.
Right up until the very end. And Ben Grant, I want to thank you for joining us from Iowa this morning. We'll be probably harassing you throughout the next several days as well. Ami with me in studio. First of all, I want to touch a little bit about Megyn Kelly. You know, if we're sitting in a different network ourselves, we can't really show too much support, but I applaud this woman. I really do. I mean, she took him on. She did take him on.
She did take him on. I think you have to remember also, this isn't necessarily a fight between Donald Trump and Megyn Kelly. This is a fight between Donald Trump and Roger Ailes, the CEO of Fox. It's a fight that's been going on for quite a while now. They've had some, apologies to each other, making up, breaking up. But this is between these two guys, and Roger Ailes is backing up Megyn Kelly. This time he's not backing down, which means Trump is probably not going to be in this debate. In this debate,
which is going to take place Thursday, which is tomorrow, and it's the last show.
It's the last show before Iowa, before people actually have to get off of their couches in their warm homes and go out to the cold. And as Ben said, the caucuses are different, specifically with the Democrats. It's even more a little crazy but they have to go there at a certain hour and it's a commitment. But the Democrats, it's crazy. It's for a few hours. You're in a big room. You move around to one corner, then to another corner, and if your candidate doesn't get elected, you have to decide again who you're going to vote and move to another corner. It's a long process. It's a commitment. Very strange way of voting.
Yeah, very strange way of voting. I mean, that's a different debate. We can sit here and discuss the American election and system for many, many, many hours. But looking now at Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton going into Iowa, what do we think about that?
Well, first of all, when it comes to polls, for example, you've had in the last week polls that show Bernie is ahead a little, and then you've got other polls that show Clinton is ahead. That's why I want to say that the Real Clear Politics average shows that they have Clinton has 46 to 45.4 of Sanders. It is a dead tie. It's a statistical tie.
It's a dead tie.
I want to show you some op-eds that are what pundits are saying, and it kind of reinforces what Ben Grant just said about if the ground operations of Trump and Sanders will translate into votes. And David Brooks of the New York Times thinks this might not happen, as he says in his op-ed, "Stay sane, America, please," asking Americans to please stay sane. The Trump and Sanders turnout, he says, problems are real. It's quite possible that the big story post-Iowa will be how badly these two underperformed.
Wow.
Keep that in mind after Iowa. That's what I'm saying. These two might really, you might see some pretty low numbers.
And
Trump, this is from the Daily Beast, I believe. It's by Will Rand, saying that Trump is the most electable Republican. The hunch now held by a number. Well, I want to say because a lot of GOP elite seems to be warming up to Donald Trump suddenly. It's very odd.
I agree with you completely. It's very odd. What we heard at the beginning, which was entirely, entirely, this is a blip. This is a blip. It's going to go away. It's not going away.
And now I wonder if they're realizing, as we can see from just a quote from this, the hunch now held by a number of the GOP's party regulars is that Trump is the most electable Republican candidate in the running. It's hard to see why Trump, the overexposed unknown, isn't at least as electable as any of the actual conservatives he is running against.
Okay.
And lastly, just another about Sanders and his demographic problems. This is from Real Clear Politics by David Byler. Sanders would have to nearly double his standing with non-white voters to catch up to Clinton in some of these subsequent states. He's talking about South Carolina and Nevada, more racially diverse states.
Right.
A shift that big isn't impossible, but it's very tough. And if Sanders doesn't win in Iowa, he might be forced out before he gets the chance to make it happen. Okay. Sanders really has to win in Iowa if he wants to see anything happen in the future.
Stay in 4 days to go. We're keeping it. We're not just keeping an eye. We're living and breathing this.
Yes.
Ami, thank you. You're locked in studio.